Thank you so much. This is Kim Evans with Inspired Conversations podcast. And my guest today is Gbenga Ogunjimi. He's a film director and a business storyteller coach. I am so excited to have him here today. Gbenga, thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We have so much to unpack, so we're going to get right to it. But before we start, Benga, is it okay with you? Can we just start with a short prayer that I'd like to just open my show with? Is that all right?
Let's do it.
All right, God. All right, God. We just want to give you honor and grace and thanks. And thank you, Lord, for being here in the midst. You said where there is two or three that are gathered, you are here. You are omnipotent. You are the author and the finisher of our faith, Alpha and Omega. Without you, it would not be me, God. I am so excited that you've given me the power to speak. But thank you, Lord, your graciousness. As we're moving through this pandemic and COVID, we love you, Lord, and we know that you are in control. God, we thank you for our guest today, Mr. Gbenga, for just sharing his time because he's very, very busy. And thank you, Lord, for allowing him to be a servant, to speak, and to share his knowledge. God, we thank you for our listeners, our podcast listeners, and also our viewers from the east, the west, the north, and the south. And may the word of the inspiration that this young man will share and myself, that people will be illuminated, motivated, and they can execute something that they're going to learn in this podcast. We thank you so much and we honor you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay. Gbenga, can I just share a little bit about your wonderful background? Please, may I
That'll be
just share a little
wonderful.
bit? Okay. Um, Gbenga is a film director and an executive business storytelling coach. So I'm going to read just a little bit about Gbenga. As a social entrepreneur and business storytelling expert, Gbenga applies his wealth and experience in social media, enterprise, philanthropy, and international service as a bridge builder, bridging a gap of access, holding back leaders from making imprints on the global stage. You actually have a lot of clients, Benga. So we gotta share these clients. Please, let's share. So he is the author of the Borderless Voice, the power of telling your story and defining your identity. We're going to get to your new series also that you just made as well. Today, as a business storyteller, Benga helps thought leaders in business tell and monetize their stories. He has coached hundreds of business and nonprofit leaders at organizations like Verizon, Airbnb, American Express, Teach for America, the Foundation Center, Susan G. Komen, and the UN Foundation. Benga's international platforms include the Social Enterprise World Forum and his business of storytelling, Tell Your Story. Has reached several business leaders across America and around the world. Thank you, Benga, for being my guest. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here once again. I'm so excited.
Yes. Yes. I'm so excited. A little bit about what you do. I see here some speaking topics. You help people with tell their story, find your core and points of commonality. Out of all what you do, Benga, what has been your most defining moment?
Well, several years ago, I had a defining moment in Lagos, Nigeria. I was much younger, seeking a career path, and the industry I was serving doing business was a nonprofit work. And I was fulfilled, very thankful for the opportunity to be a point of light in the community. But I was wrestling with a sense of fulfillment in that world. Nothing wrong with helping people, but the way we were going about helping people, meaning that we have to wait for someone to give us grant and funding to do our work, it didn't quite resonate. It appears to me that we were just doing it to get grants and to get someone else's approval and validation. So I thought I wasn't the best way forward. I've always had a sense of business entrepreneurship, but my challenge was I'm not someone that is exclusively financially motivated or driven.
Got it.
So here I was, if I should go nonprofit or if I should go for profit. And I found a mentor.
Okay.
And in our very first coaching session, I told her my story. And she said, Benga, if you want to help people and if you want to make money, you are a social entrepreneur. I never heard the word social entrepreneur.
Mhm.
6 months after that conversation, the corporation of Microsoft started to invest in social entrepreneurship. I
Wow.
gave myself permission, I applied. They were looking for 100 people. I became successful. I won that competition. Shortly after, I came to America, started a couple of social ventures, and I most recently dedicated my life to this work of business storytelling. Because what I realized that my defining moment was possible because a thought leader, a coach, a mentor came into my life and challenged the language I told my story with. She gave me articulation and vocabulary to really articulate my story at an elevated level. And in doing so, my opportunity were greatly maximized. That story is also important for me because when I think about what made me successful with those business plan competition, working for the United Nations, coming to America with invitation from the US government, and everything that I've done, it wasn't because I had the greatest ability or expertise, but it was because someone really helped and trained and coached and inspired me to tell my story the right way. And I think that remains my defining moment in my career.
That is beautiful. And now you teach other people to tell their stories, other leaders and executives to tell their stories. And I love that. And I look so forward to your next and what you have coming
Ah,
up.
nice,
So,
nice.
a little bit of background how I met Gbenga. We were actually at Cindy Trim's conference, and she's actually one of my executive coaches, and we just hit it off really, really well. And we had a discussion over storytelling because Les Brown actually was one of the keynote speakers there. And we know that he's the grandfather of sharing stories, as well as Lisa Nichols. And Banga, he shares that same platform with them. So it was an honor to have that conversation with you, and we've been kept in communication and dialogue ever since. And Gbenga has been helping me to elevate my story and my elevator pitch in my business. And I thank you for that. I'd like to move forward to this wonderful new endeavor that you just completed as a film director. How does that feel? Because we're going to showcase
Well,
the trailer. How does that feel? How does that feel?
it, it was, let me use the word supernatural.
Come on now. Get it now. Get your praise. Get your praise. That is wonderful. First of all, did you ever comprehend? Did you ever think that you could do something like that? Was that on the
it,
plate to do?
it was not. It was not on the plate. It was not in my plan at all. I didn't think about me becoming a filmmaker. I saw myself as a storyteller, as a story coach, as a story consultant. And I think it just speaks to the amazing transformation that happens when you find purpose,
Yes.
because there is no limit to the unfolding of purpose and the possibilities that comes with it. So I'm so honored.
Man.
A little bit about, while this is very important for me, I'm honored to not only produce this documentary, but these 7 business leaders giving me the opportunity to steward their stories. Um, I think our story is one of our most prized assets and possession. And
Absolutely.
it's not something that will let people in easily. So trusting me enough to create a platform for their story uh, makes me very honored.
I'm excited. I'm excited. So let's get right to it. I want to share my screen. Can we share
Okay,
the trailer now? Is that good? Okay.
that'll be great. That'll be great.
Let's share this trailer. Let me make sure that I get the right one. Can you see it, Gbenga, on your screen? Can you see it clear?
Very clear. So let's start from the beginning
Okay. Let's start from the beginning. And you're welcome to talk through it too, Gbenga, if you need to.
We could have a shift in our community if we had better options in our community. I was working in retail, but I wasn't connected to what I was seeing around me. Position yourself so that when the door opens, you'll be able to walk through that door.
I am Gbena Ogunjimi, and my superpower is business storytelling. I use this superpower to help thought leaders and businesses tell and monetize their stories. Over the past few months, I've had the distinct honor of working with this Washington, D.C. entrepreneurship about to me. All these businesses were already good, but together we went on a journey from good to great. We're embracing the power of these stories. Welcome to Good to Great Stories, a small business documentary.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. How did you get your story on Prime Video? How did you get your story on Prime? That's awesome.
Again, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone.
Oh, wow.
Come here. It means a lot to us.
Let me stop the background. I think I'm still sharing something.
An amazing story. Great working with them.
Let me
Highly
take that
recommend it,
off.
by the way. If anyone wants to-
Okay, is the background still playing?
And I really want to thank
Yes.
You still hear the background? Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear the background?
We really appreciate everything. And also,
Yes.
so I'm going to hand it over to my father.
I need to share that. Okay.
Okay. That is stop.
Did we start?
So okay, let just we can. Okay, I think you got it now. Yeah.
Sorry, I was still muted. Hello, everyone.
Well,
For some reason,
Well,
the back.
we still have the background. So can we go back to the video and close out that complete YouTube channel or YouTube tab? We can stop. You can take it off full screen.
Okay. Let me take it off of full screen. I know how to do that.
And we can close that and exit it.
Okay. All right. There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I am so honored. I must ask you, how did you get your story on Prime Video? That's amazing to be shown there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a lot of distribution platform. Ultimately, we are aiming for Netflix, so Prime is a good place to start. There's a lot of streaming platforms. There's a lot of agents as well that can help to share your stories on major platforms. So I think beyond the platform, what is more importantly is the content itself. So a little bit of a background with the documentary.
Yes.
Is it okay I speak about the documentary?
Yes, let's talk about that.
It's called Good to Great Stories, a small business documentary. The documentary tells the stories of 7 entrepreneurs in the most underserved community in the nation's capital. That is east of the river, Anacostia, southeast. And when you think about that community, the prevailing narrative is that of struggle and scarcity. And I was fascinated with the work of these entrepreneurs, changing that narrative to that of opportunity and growth. And in 2019, I had the opportunity to work with them as a business coach. It was a program that was funded by JP Morgan. And while we were doing the work, I was just so fascinated with their stories. And it was there the light bulb moment came that their stories do not have to just stop in this community. We have to expose this to the greatest platform possible. So I think that is how it all began. And we officially released it in February for Black History Month. We've been getting a whole lot of press coverage and private viewings, universities, nonprofit, the county and all kinds of organizations have been inviting us to premiere the documentary. So we're very excited. And also, I don't know if you've seen the update yet. The mayor of Washington, D.C. recently issued a mayoral proclamation um, for 21st of February called the Business Story Day
Wow.
in recognition of my business efforts towards business storytelling in the city. So very excited.
Oh my gosh, congratulations on that. I am
Thank you.
just honored, honored to know you. And repeat, Benga, the your company name, the name of your company. So if people want to reach out to you,
It's
um,
called Go Global.
go global. And I'll also will put that information in the in a video information. So out of all the seven entrepreneurs, and I saw the video and I thought it was very impactful, it was very touching. You had a good assortment of different genres of small business owners that you interviewed and coached. Which one, I won't say which one was your most favorite. Which one did you really enjoy pushing forward and just working with and just putting forth really good, effective effort? Was there anyone that stood out more than the others?
Now you're asking a parent to choose within a child.
Well, your most the most challenging one that came out to be the most great. I mean, you go in with kind of like, okay, I have these clients that I'm working with. I want to get them to this particular level. I mean, which one was there anyone that you enjoyed just that just really just got
Sure,
moving more than the others? I mean,
sure. What I'll say is this: each and every one of those stories are very unique,
yeah.
um, and very much unique. But the beauty of storytelling is, while we have unique stories, the themes of our stories are always universal.
Okay.
So, in the documentary, one of the repeating, um, recurring themes you would find is the theme of opportunity in crisis. And that speaks to the current climate, whether it's the pandemic or the struggles of businesses or even individuals losing their jobs. And a lot of people, one or two people in the documentary, as you would see, had a similar experience when they were starting out. And it was in the moment of crisis that their businesses came to light. So I think the theme of crisis, one of the things I said in the documentary, that a crisis is a terrible thing to waste, because opportunities would always masquerade as
Out of a
challenges.
crisis. Exactly.
So I think that theme is something that really resonates with across the documentary.
So I'm excited to hear what is JP Morgan's next step. I mean, the documentary actually was created. You came in as a business coach and you were able to move them forward so that they can thrive and scale. Some of those businesses did want to scale. So what's the next move? What's the next step for those seven businesses that you were able to assist?
Um, Great question. Every business, every career, we are all going through some form of pivot.
Hmm.
So a lot of businesses, including those seven businesses, have been forced to really pivot their business model. So I think we're all still going through
Okay.
that transformation. But what I would say is this: one of the businesses is Mahogany Books, and what is wonderful that President Barack Obama recently gave them a shout out on social media and actually participated in a live event they were doing, and the entire black media went crazy. So I thought that was a wonderful thing,
Oh,
that
that's
that
awesome.
happens.
Repeat the name of the book company so that viewers can hear. Was it
Mahogany,
Yeah, Mahogany Books in Washington,
yeah,
D.C.
DC.
Wow, that is great. Do you still stay in contact with them, Benga? Are you still
Mhm.
offering some level of coaching for those businesses?
Absolutely. Right about now, we've all been promoting. We're all in promotional mode. So we've been going on media and panel discussion. So we've been doing a series of interviews on the media. But in terms of coaching, we are family. It's their success is my success, and
Mhm.
my success is their success. So we are all one big family. So it's a happy community. Also, to touch on your other question about what's next, one of the things that was really wonderful for me in this experience was the privilege to go into an underserved community like Anacostia, in story communities. Now in the spirit of Black History Month, and we have such communities across America. So what I really want to do on this new trajectory is to going into those other inner cities across the country. These are places you would not typically go to find creative stories or success stories, but let's use this to change the narrative.
Absolutely.
So I'm very excited with that, and some opportunities are really coming up. So I'm very excited about that.
I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Do you
Thank you.
foresee maybe a training from this, a program from this, an e-course from this, something where other inspirational business owners can utilize maybe the theme and the model and some of the technique and strategy that you were able to share with these businesses, or a book? I mean,
hmm hmm Um, Absolutely. My core business is coaching and training. So that is going to continue, and it's continuing even to swell and elevate and expand. But my goal for this documentary, I think that the whole world is transitioning digital and virtual. And I think even as for those of us in the coaching or professional development space, we really have to rethink the way we go about creating content. And for me, this is one of the challenges because any relevant content has to satisfy three major criteria. It has to be informational, it has to be entertaining, and it has to be inspirational. So I think once you do that well, that becomes your training content. So one of the things you would see in the documentaries was me coming out at intervals and really speaking to specific strategies or principles or themes, and I'll disappear and let the entrepreneurs do the storytelling themselves. I
absolutely.
intend to continue with that trajectory and just kind of incorporate content, when I mean content, I mean educational training content in something that is more entertaining or inspirational like that. So we're moving to digital storytelling, and that's the future.
So you mentioned informational, entertaining, and inspirational. Those three
Yes.
things uh, encompass a good storytelling. So let me ask you. Let's move forward to your business and what you do there. Um, why is it important for us to tell our story? What's the significance of telling our story as business leaders when you're guest speaking and in your business as you approach the stage? Why is that important? Because some people might not know that, yeah, this is a good element to incorporate in their speaking to drive people in. And I could see why. So, because it's informational, entertaining, and inspirational. So, why is it important to tell your story? What does it mean to tell your story?
Well, first and foremost, your story is your superpower. And oftentimes we try to leave our um, natural habitat. We try to leave our lane. We try to leave environment that makes us more successful. And we try to compete with what we do not have. So, as a businessman, as a career professional, um, you may not have the best resources, technology, solution, um, but you have something that no one else in the world or your competition has, which is your story. So I think your story is your ultimate brand identity. It's what sets you apart. It's your ultimate differentiator. It's what distinguishes you from your competition. It was really makes your brand authentic, and no
Mhm.
one else can duplicate that. So I think the
Absolutely.
moment you start telling your story, you stand apart. um, you know, Speaking further with this idea that your story is your superpower. So think about this, Kim. During this pandemic, we saw the rise of a new industry. We call it the essential economy.
Yes, the essential
And,
economy. Exactly. Yes.
and we celebrate people and we awarded them and we thank them, for their service. So what that means, Kim, that in 2020, in 2021, if you still have a business, your community are telling you that you are essential to them.
Exactly.
Your communities are telling you that your service is important to them. But I think the beauty of storytelling is it elevates the conversation in what I call the superpower economy.
I love it. I
In
love
the superpower economy, it is powered by stories. The essential economy is powered by your expertise. So if you really want to put out your Wakanda effect, uh, you
yeah.
gotta start telling your story, and that puts you in a class all by yourself.
Yes. We all have a story to tell. And I love so much about my podcast because it gives people a platform to talk about their expertise and experience in their business, but at the same time, it can allows you to share your story. And thank you so
Yes,
for being such an inspiration to remind me to tell my story. At certain points in our lives, define different moments. At what point do you recommend to tell the beginning story, the middle story, or the end story? Because sometimes you can have several stories.
that's true.
So, at what point or which story do you recommend is the most impactful one to use, or we should lead by? Which story?
Well, it depends on where you are in your growth, in your journey. But there's one story we all have that is a common denominator.
Okay.
I'm going to need to stand up because of the,
Okay, the
yeah.
light. Okay, no problem.
So, so there's one story we all have that is a common denominator. It's called the origin story.
Okay,
Uh, the origin story is when it all starts. Some people call it the seed story or the creation story.
okay,
So it's the moment where the aha moment happened, or is that defining moment? Is the
okay.
origination of your business, of your career, of your journey, how everything else came about. So if you going back to the documentary, if you take the story of Amanda of the fresh fruit factory, she was saying she grew up on a farm, and her dad was a black farmer, and it was in that farm that she saw the beauty of healthy living, and she saw everything, and that became her origin story.
Got it.
Every single one of us have an origin story.
Got it.
How do you find your origin story? You take inventory of your defining moments. The defining moment that led to what you're doing, that becomes your origin story.
That is amazing. And you help to pull that out of people.
Mhm.
And I remember when we were having this conversation, and I remember vividly the story of which how I started my business. But then there's a story before that and how I got into makeup and how we all started Too Gorgeous. And most people don't know that story. And you just reminded me, and it was just so amazing. If you don't mind me to share that, and I never forget my we were going to school, was in high school, and I used to always love to wear makeup. My stepmom at the time had just left, and I would always sneak into her makeup. And I happened to be wearing some blush one day and eye stuff, and went to school, came back, washed it off. Right, she would never find out. Came home and she's like, "Who was in my blush, and who was in my eyeshadow?" Because I would just put it on every day. I loved it. I'm like, now, how did she find out? We have tile in the bathroom like the Brady Bunch, and I scraped it really, really good. How did she know I was in her makeup? And I would just be just a little bit, right? Just put a little dab on. And, it was so funny. I told that story when I was actually at a meeting with National Speakers Association out in San Francisco. And people came up at the end and they're like, Ken, you never told us how she found out, because I had them glued in. It's like I brought them up and then I dropped them down, but then I didn't really tell them the last nugget piece. So they came up to me and they're like, you didn't share. How does she find out? I said, she found out because we had Brady Bunch tile in the bathroom, and I obviously didn't wipe it clean enough, and there was still remnants of red blush powder in there. So she knew I was the one that was in her makeup. Hence, 24 years later, we have the birth of Too Gorgeous Facial Spa and my cosmetics, because I always wanted to be in makeup. So I see what you're saying of having that we all have an origin story. So before even the start of my business of Too Gorgeous, that was the origin story, because that really got me motivated into makeup. So thank you for sharing.
Wow.
Thank
That's beautiful.
you.
And also, I think another thing, telling that story on that stage is very symbolic of what happens when we all tell our story. It allows our customer base to connect to us on a personal level. And we can form and relationship building, it's the cornerstone for business, right? So the more we tell our stories, the more they have a personal connection to the brand. One of the examples I give is this: if you are in the business of, say, books, if you have a local bookstore, your competition is not the bookstore next door. Your competition is Amazon. And how do you compete with Amazon Prime, same day delivery or next day, 1 day delivery? Your story becomes your superpower, because the more you start telling your story, your customer have a personal connection to you that Amazon cannot get. So they wouldn't mind going extra mile to come to the store because it's personal to them. That it going to that store and storytelling makes that level of connection happen.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Woo! That's a lot. That's really a lot. That's beautiful. So this is 2021. We're in February, Black History Month. Um, do you have some group programs that you have coming up? Because I know people might want to get in contact and might want to do some coaching with you. Would you like to share any of that information if you have anything? And we can't wait for you to come to the Bay Area, because I keep telling you, when you come in, I may have to sponsor you. When you come into the Bay, Before then,
Definitely let you know.
yes.
I was about to come to the Bay before the pandemic happened. So, yeah, in terms of opportunities, in February on the 21st, we are celebrating our proclamation from the mayor of Washington, D.C. She issued a proclamation declaring February 21st um, Business Story Day in Washington, D.C. And that proclamation is in part recognition of my business work with business storytelling in the district. So, in that event, what we're doing is we are showcasing some of my clients who are Black and Brown business owners in celebration of Black History Month, telling their business stories. I'm also inviting some of my investors, I don't want to mention names, but financial institutions, also to come to talk about how they're supporting the local economy
I love it. I
in
love it.
DC. What is going to be wonderful for that event is if you want to learn about how to tell your story, if you want to see business storytelling in action, and just a celebration of Black business
I love
stories,
it.
you should join us. You can find the details on my website on the events.
Okay.
It's just myfirstname.org. That is Gbenga.org. We should have the information. And
Okay.
let's stay connected. And I look forward to you coming to our events.
So tell me something, one last thing too, Binga. You have something on your website to where people, if they go to their website and they sign up, that they get, isn't an audio? There's some sort of coaching that you have on there, and it also gives them an opportunity to have a conversation with you. You had something
Oh, I see.
downloadable on your website, if I remember
I
correctly.
see. I don't think that is available anymore, but I can point them to where it's available. I
Okay.
think what you're talking about is the audio book, the introductory chapter
Yes,
of
the
my
audiobook
book.
introduction chapter. So you can actually give me that URL if you like later, and then I can actually post it in our video. Um,
Absolutely.
Real quick, I know we're gonna end this in a few more moments. Um, I know already there were a few people that was like, when is he going to do a class or a virtual class that specifically would like to learn how to tell their stories? And so we're waiting for you, Benga. We're waiting for you. It's
Yes.
a need. So if you don't already have it, we need to create it. Yes,
Yeah.
because I think think this is great in the essential economy of the digital age, right? Because you said your story is your superpower, and we want to be superly empowered. Any last words you would like to share or leave with the listeners and the viewers about
Absolutely, yeah.
your storytelling?
Absolutely. I just want to point everyone to the documentary. It's something I'm very passionate about and I'm promoting actively. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Good to Great Stories. The subtitle is a small business documentary. Please share your review on Amazon. Let us know what you think about it, and let me know how I can help your business
Yes.
to tell your own business story or your personal brand story.
Yeah.
But if you go to Amazon Prime and check out the documentary, you will get a ton of ideas for your own story too.
Thank you. I always like to leave my podcast by just asking some just beautiful questions that does not apply to your work. So I have to
Okay.
ask you this. What brings you the most joy? What is your favorite color, Gbenga?
Ah, my favorite color is color green because it's the color of money.
I love it. Woo! I love it. I love it. He said green. I like
Yeah.
green too.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I love it. Obviously it is because it definitely put a smile on your face. When the borders
Yeah.
open up, what is going to be the first place you and your wife are going to travel? Where would you like to go if time and money was not an object?
Um, well, in the U.S., we're very big fans of Married at First Sight. And in this episode, they went to Vegas. So we thought, you know what? We should both go to Vegas. We've not done Vegas. So
You've never been to Vegas?
uh,
You've never been to
I
Las Vegas?
have not.
Oh, you got to go.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
and she hasn't been too. So the second place we want to go overseas, after the travel and the pandemic, everything is off, is Cape Town, South Africa.
Oh, yes. 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 I would. Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely on my list too. And the last thing that I have to ask you, what just gives you the most joy when you help someone um just be their superpower? When you can actually go in and inspire them and it's like they become empowered. What is that joy?
You know, the two things that comes to mind. You know, obviously, when I see people who, at the beginning of our conversation, say something like, huh, I don't think my story is that interesting, or I don't think I have any story worth telling. And I see them make a total transformation, and that story ends up becoming their superpower. And they see how important and pivotal their defining moments are. And that moment or story being elevated to become a brand of itself, to become a business, to become a signature contribution they're making to the world, that gives me a lot of joy. Um, the second thing connected to the color of money or color green, it gives it gives me so much joy when I have the opportunity to give it away.
Yes. Yes.
So one of the things I've been carrying with me, even in the digital economy, I've been carrying with me wads of money in my wallet, and every single day, and I'm waiting for someone to give it to.
Oh.
And I don't randomly give it when I'm inspired, and I wait for that inspiration. It could be a stranger, it could be someone in need, or it could be someone I want to honor that's not in need.
Exactly.
But there will never be a time when I don't have that honor seed in my wallet. So when I do that, it gives me a lot of joy.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely. Hey, I don't think you get better than that. Gbenga, it has been such a pleasure and such an honor. Thank you for your time. Thank you for lending your expertise and congratulations on your new film docuseries. And we look forward to your greatness and your next. Thank you so much.
I love it. You keep saying docu-series because I know you're speaking that into existence. At this time, it's only one film now, but Kim is saying no, it's not one, it's a series. So I receive it.
This is
Thank you so
great.
much.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Kim. I have for the opportunity to
we
be
did
here.
great.
It's always wonderful to be on your show. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, viewers and listeners, for listening to Inspired Conversations with Kim Evans. Thank you so much and have a great day. And bye for now.